actual plays. You guys are on the Twitch channel. Chad is watching it, so he'll be able to interact with you or uh, kick you out for being an a-hole. All right, so John is running our first game. We're going to be doing a D&D 5th edition game, and I will let John do the setup. So, John, this is your deal.
That is correct. All right, folks. This game started as quote-unquote dwarf game. We didn't really have any ideas bigger than that. It kind of grew out of another game that I'm playing with George and Miranda and some of George's family. You'll meet them in a moment. It's a generic sort of 2E dungeon crawling romp where we're getting the treasure and killing the bad guy and leveling up. But George and I are both playing dwarves, and we came across the standard stereotypical mountain fortress, and we got ants in our pants just to make this thing our home. Like, start mining for adamantium and maybe build some cannons and brew some beer, that sort of thing. But we didn't throw a wrench in that campaign. We kept on and went on farther down the line with the sort of style of classic 80s Stranger Things-ish grid map combat that the GM had in mind. But we walked away from it thinking, you know, we should take that baton and run it, whether it's in 2E or 5E or something else, and make it about dwarves living in a dwarf fortress. Obviously, Dwarf Fortress, the ASCII roguelike, is a huge source of inspiration for anything like that. But this is not a Dwarf Fortress game. It's an original 5e D&D game that I've cooked up with the help of these 5 PCs. They're going to start in a prosperous, mature dwarf undermountain society, and it's all going to go to hell within minutes of the beginning of the first session. So we will see where they steer it from there. The choices that their characters make of where to go to next after their home has exploded will be up to them, and we will see what happens. Before we get underway, I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves and the character that they're playing, how that character sort of fits in with one another and with the society writ large. And I'll also note we have another player named Ed, a great friend of Fear the Boots, good Gen Con guy, indie local, who will be with us for future sessions playing a dwarven tiefling. We call it a dweefling. His character will almost certainly wind up in the laps of our characters tonight by the end of Game 1, but he's not here present with us. He will be in the future, however. So we will go in the order as they're showing up on my screen. I don't know how they're showing up on yours, but Dan, if you could introduce yourself briefly and then introduce your character, we will be happy to hear them.
Okay. The character that I'm playing is named Edwin. Edwin is a human who was fourth down the line of sons of a noble house and basically ran out of the positions that the sons of a noble house would take. And so they educated him. He was ultimately serving as a chamberlain, was not terribly successful at home, was not doing well in his home life, was not a man of any esteem, but had enough of a wit and enough intellect that he was able to charm a dwarven merchant and help bind a few trade deals. And so as a result, this house decided, well, at least we can use him in that regard, and got him closer and closer to the dwarves, who actually liked him. And so as a result, Edwin went totally gung-ho for dwarven culture. He feels he has a home with them that he doesn't with his own kind. And so he departed from his hometown and now lives on a permanent basis as a diplomat and liaison to this dwarf hold. Now, one of the side things he's doing is because he's an outsider, and the dwarven culture is very based on reputation and esteem and such, is he's able to take on tasks that they may not want to publicly discuss. And one of them is with Ed's character, who is partially demonic. He was being paid off by Ed's character's father to try and look for ways to limit or even outright hide things like his demonic traits, the family that was, well, the fact that he has a demon for a mother. And so that's kind of how he...
in a traditional dwarven society.
Yeah, through that, he's very friendly, very outgoing. his character beyond that we'll just see in the game, but um, he'd get along. He's getting along great with everyone within their culture and feels very at home there.
Cool. Chad, what are you playing, and who the heck are you?
Bran, dwarf fighter. Next.
No.
No. So I am playing Bran, who is a dwarf fighter as far as just the class goes. He's younger as far as dwarfs go. I'm not exactly sure what age that would make him. Like 100 or 150?
If he's reached what we would consider fully realized adulthood, but he's not old yet, yeah, he would be between 1 and 200 years old, maybe a little younger than that.
Like 20s.
Yeah, like human 20s is like dwarf 70s or 80s.
Okay. So yeah, he's probably like around 100 years old. He is in the military of the dwarf hold here. He was raised on sort of legends, like a lot of the dwarf people and their society and their religion, their culture is like elder lore and tales of the past and tales of great daring deeds. And he had an older relative who basically brought him up on those stories, and he drank the Kool-Aid. He is like, this is real, this is how you live, this is amazing. And the quickest path to that is join the army, go kick some dwarf or some orc ass, and glory will be yours, and grow your beard long and be this whole orc thing and honor your ancestors. But the reality set in that when he joined the military, the dwarf hold, they're not at war with anybody, and their dwarf society is actually really advanced, and it's becoming sort of like Rome-like, not necessarily decadent, but just very safe and not dangerous. So the military is kind of like where you go if you're uneducated, or where you go to kind of figure yourself out, and you do a lot of standing around and peeling potatoes and doing a lot of guard duty. And Bran, by his nature, is very basically he's very distractible for a dwarf, I guess, because he wants to go. He wants to go and do stuff, and he doesn't want to talk about it and plan, and he wants to go out and have action. But that's just not how their society works. And he just kept butting up against a superior officer who was very go with the flow. We've got a good thing here. And it just kept escalating and escalating. He got put into, he's seen the inside of a brig a couple of times on minor infractions, but he did the big one where he got into it with this superior officer and just decked him and laid him out. And they're like, in you go. And that's where he's at. He is also a cousin to the cleric whose name I don't remember. Gollum?
Gollum. Gollum is the block.
Oh, yeah.
I am your
cousin?
good cousin. Distant, well, not distant. We had our mothers were sisters. You're a first cousin. That's brothers in dwarf territory. Right. But I was always the good one, and I kind of made a promise to keep you out of trouble because you're always doing things a little bit less like a dwarf would maybe do them. You have less patience. You are more impulsive. You want that action, whereas I am very much your typical, I'm going to cut this stone, I'm going to cut it for 6 hours, then I'm going to drink this barrel of nice mead, and then I'm going to poop it out and go to sleep.
And George, Albin derives his power, as do a significant portion of these dwarven clerics, from ancestor worship, correct?
Yes.
He directly appeals to the spirits of his fathers and grandfathers, and that's how things happen.
Yeah. And whereas Bran does not draw any power from that, he totally believes it. And, you know, it's instead of like a maybe respect your ancestors, this slow, ponderous, thoughtful dwarf thing, it's like get on the front lines of action and make a name for yourself. Yeah. And he's also cousins to the Dweef as well.
Yes, the Dweefling on his dwarf side, of course, his father.
Yeah. And
is a full-blown dwarf.
And I kind of see like George's cleric trying to look out for me, and then I see myself and George. We both try and look out for the black sheep of the family.
Yes, of the everyone, the demon. Is George gone for anybody else?
Yeah. Now's probably a good time to say that we have never attempted to stream anything other than a video game before. So this is going to be a learning process for us. Hopefully within a few shows we'll have it all sorted out. But our background is in podcasting, feartheboot.com. It is, once again, we've used the Twitch channel a few times for video games, but never for this. So I'm sure that we're going to be having all kinds of fun.
Yeah.
I may eventually decide this isn't even the right tool for it.
Yeah, I've been known to go over to Discord Voice, which doesn't crap out all the time. But being an actual play, being distributed for consumption, I'd like to have cameras, and I don't think that's an option on Discord. All right. Well, Miranda, while George is reloading, who are you and what are you playing?
I am playing the token elf ranger character. She spends most of her time floating around in the wilderness.
That was my internet, sorry.
George, how dare you?
It was like you're talking, George is asleep, Dan coughs, wakes George up, says he's sorry. That was amazing.
George.
Couldn't have scripted it better. Yes.
She has a life debt to one of the elders of the clan, which is how she's around it all. When she's not trying to annoy him into coming out into the wilderness to like have tiny adventures, she's probably scouting or hunting things, or sometimes visiting her own people instead of hanging out with stuffy old dwarves. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Elf, ranger.
All right, very good.
Stuff in the woods.
And totally not a cousin.
No, not related, and not kind of sort of pretending to be related, like Dan.
I mean, we can adopt Dan, but
yeah.
At least he might. Are you at least short?
No, not really.
Aw. No, we're not adopting you then.
But I am a total dweeaboo. I've got the dwarf.
He would
waifu
love
pillow.
to be adopted.
Yes.
Do you have a beard? Do you have a giant human beard? I mean, it's not as Saraswit or beautiful or full, but are you at least attempting a beard? Or is he blonde and like can't grow one?
No, I think he's got a beard, but it's really one step above 5 o'clock shadow, I think.
No. I mean, I'm not seeing Chad on his webcam or audio.
Oh no, I've still got him.
All right, let me reload.
Okay.
Sorry, Chad.
Yeah. But no, he's. I think he's got more like some stubble, maybe kind of a short thing. So he's not bare-chinned, but I think he's kind of accepted that he just can't do a beard right, and so. He's tried, and maybe now he's going through this phase of, well, I've heard that if you cut the hair back, it grows out faster and thicker, and so he's trying that now. Of course, that's not going to work either, but in his mind, this is totally the way forward.
It's totally going to work this time.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely.
You just have to want the beard more.
Mm-hmm.
In the paraphrase words of the Hound from the Game of Thrones episode before last, you're not fooling anyone, you bald person, vis-a-vis the man bun. He does not say person.
I do not believe that he says person.
All right. So at the beginning of the game, the situation that your characters find yourselves in is unusual for a few of you, quite usual for the others. Bran, you have been arrested in a drunken brawling incident and thrown into the dungeon on one of the lowest levels of the dwarf hold, the Ironblood dwarf hold. There is a dungeon, not in the D&D sense, strictly speaking, but actually a place where they hold people who are suspected or convicted of crimes. And that's where you are now. You got into a slap fight with some form of sergeant or lieutenant, and should have stood there, stared at the wall, and taken your tongue lashing, but instead smacked him. So you're being held, and you're in pretty serious trouble, and you're waiting on people to decide what to do to you. However, there are also the three other of you there. None of you are incarcerated, and here's why. Over the course of the last night, it's about mid-morning now, a handful of people who you did not expect to wind up in the clink, unlike poor Bran, have wound up there. The elderly life debt friend of yours, Miranda, Kabak, was hauled off of his bar stool late last night while he was drinking with some of his younger friends and thrown into jail.
How dare they?
And that never happens, especially in this particular society. It's very patriarchal. He's a grandfather, both honorifically and actually.
Now, my fight didn't occur like in the same bar. Like he didn't get swept up. This was like a separate thing that he.
Yes, this was a separate thing. Well, no, actually, that's the thing. He didn't get in a fight. There was no real, as far as any of you know, stated reason that he got down here. He's been raging almost literally, because he's a barbarian, from across the dungeon from you, Chad. Or should I say Bran, about why the hell is he down here? You can't do this to a respected grandpa, blah, 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 blah.
And this guy's like 1,000 years old, right?
He's like 500. He is way too old to fight, but he's...
I'm afraid to open
I'm not
Facebook
telling him
and
that.
crack.
Yeah,
Gabak?
don't tell him that. What's that?
Gabak? Grabak?
Kabak.
Kabak. That's what it is. Kabak. Okay.
So, Enna, you, with your deep bond of friendship to him and in a state of outrage of why he's been thrown in jail, are storming down to the dungeon. You've just gotten there, and you're looking around at what's going on. Alban, you are there ministering to Bran and to the handful of other poor souls that are down there in the dungeon along with him, because this is part of what you do. You have a soft spot for Bran personally and particularly, but you also are a legitimate, if low-level cleric of the Dwarven Society, and you come down and talk to people who got thrown in jail and ask them why and try to get them to agree to do something a little more constructive next time, as many, many clergy of many, many traditions do. So that's what you're down there doing. Now, Edwin, you heard a rumor from multiple, apparently reliable sources, that your good friend and ward, the guy who they call Golem, Ed's character, the one dweefling of the tribe, got hauled out of the wizard's library at some point late yesterday, where he is himself an apprentice, and taken down to jail. But you're in the course of ransacking the outer cells, like walking far down beyond where everyone else is kept and poking your head through the thin crowd, looking for where he is and what people have done to him. But you do not find him. He is apparently not here. So, the only other people that are down here with you, and they are in the same chamber as you, Bran, are a gang of dwarves called the Moles. They are young, they are essentially unequipped, they're just toughs, they're just troublemakers. You think there might be a real thief or two between them, but for the most part, they are rowdy little rabble-rousers, and they wind up in the clink individually and collectively all the darn time. So you're sharing your cell with them, and they're grunting around and whining about being in their predicament. When all of a sudden, in the course of the investigation that the three of you are on, and the detention and counseling session that the rest of you, that Bran is on, you hear a ear-splitting, almost deafening crack, like a collision. If your dwarves knew what an 18-wheeler plowing into a median sounded like, it's kind of like that. Is a boom. The entire chamber you're in, which is loud, or which is large and underground and wide, shakes, and small rocks and dust dislodge from the roof. A few of the smaller, worn-down surfaces of the edge of the cave walls fall down onto the floor. And I am going to roll a stealth check for a surprise round.
Is Alban in the cell with me, or are we kind of talking through the bars?
You're kind of talking through the bars. Albin, the key's on a big old brass ring over on the wall, and the guards are all not here.
There's no guards down here?
There are no guards down here. The last one left 5-10 minutes ago. And,
did they seem like they left, like, you know, everyone's talking, everyone's going, somebody's drinking beer, somebody's saying, oh, I'm going to, and then all of a sudden everyone just puts their stuff down and leaves at the same time? Or
No,
was it just slowly, we noticed, where the hell is everybody?
Yeah, there's slow attrition and then gone.
Were any of them down there when I got there?
Yes, there was one left. He was looking around, irritated for some reason. Did you want to accost him?
Yeah, I want to know what the hell Kadak's doing down there.
Okay. He stammers and looks at you and says, I have no idea. They dragged the old man in last night, and I'm the morning shift. And I'm apparently the only one that decided to come to work today. This is ridiculous.
Well, where's the logbook? They have to have written something down.
Over here. He brings you over to a large leather-bound parchment book and opens it up to the latest point on the ledger. All 9 names of the moles are recorded in the book, and you can see they're also on the page to the left of the spine, and half of them are on the top of that page again.
Of course they are.
Brand's name is recorded in neat strokes, but Golem's is not, and neither is Kabak's.
Then I'm going to snatch the key and let him out, because if he's not supposed to be in there because he's not written down, then he's not going to stay in the cage.
I watched the elf do this and be like, oh, okay.
Oh, we're doing this now.
You go for the key, and he glares at you and shoots his arm up to take the ring out of your hand and says, hey!
Hey, yourself!
Do you try to snatch it back from him?
Yeah, sure,
Or
why not? Oh, wait,
let him
how
have
old is this dwarf? Is this a young...
He's in middle age. He's a member of what's called the Copper Guard. There are 3 guards. They're sort of levels of military police people in this tribe. There's no distinct barrier between the civil law enforcement authorities and the military. The Copper Guard are capable fighters, but they're the least elite of the 3. The Iron Guard is comparable to well-trained professional infantry, which in this day and age in these kinds of societies are pretty rare. Most armies are composed of conscripts and peasants and such. Even the dwarves are a little more elite, but they're basically that way. And then the Adamantine Guard is the Royal Guard. Most of them are devoted to the personal protection of the king at all times. Some of them are loaned off by the Patriarch if he needs it. Other than that, maybe 1 or 2 will be granted to a dignitary or something, but they're essentially the Royal Guard.
Okay.
So this guy's a member of the Copper Guard. He's wearing an iron breastplate and an iron helmet with the insignia of the Copper Guard embossed on it. You can give him a quick eyeballing and conclude that he's not elite, but also not a couch potato.
Okay. When he says, hey, and glares at me, I'm going to go, hey, yourself. Let him out right now. You don't have him down in your log. There's no documented reason why he should be in there. You're the only one here in charge. Do your job.
Does the guard have the keys, or is it still on the hook and they're kind of in contention? over it?
That's a good question. Miranda, when you went for the keys with your hand...
I didn't try and keep when he tried to block.
Okay, yeah. As soon as you made a motion for it, he was like, "Arr!" So he's got it in his hand right now. And he says, look, lady.
Don't you lady me.
You have a point. He's not in the book. This is highly irregular, and that irritates me. However, you cannot walk into a constabulary office and order the doors open. I can't do that, and I'm actually a constable. We have to find the appropriate lieutenant, send this through the channels, and get this grandpa out of there. I know he doesn't belong in there. I don't know who put him there. This is probably some prank or some grudge. But you don't have the authority here.
Prank. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I know who that is. I didn't arrest him.
Where's everybody else?
That's a damn good question, and I intend to find out.
And where's my dinner?
And apparently where's
over at Bran.
This whole time, I'm waiting patiently in line to speak to this constable.
Okay.
There's a line of 2 people, and neither of them are dwarves.
But it's not moving.
Yes.
Look, this is like being behind one old lady at Walgreens or one single mom at a grocery store. It may not be a line, but it's not moving. So I'm standing there quite patiently.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, okay, fine. Talk to him and then go find someone to get him out of there. I'm not leaving until he's out. And then I'm going to go talk to Kabak.
You can sit here all day if you want to, lady. I'll be back as soon as I can find out what's going on here. And he turns over to Edwin and says, all right, now what do you want?
There's an individual I was told is down here, but I didn't notice him in the logbook or can't seem to find him in the cells. Do you have any information on a dwarf by the name of Peliacamos?
Peliacamos? That's Golem, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Golem.
He does, some people call him by that name. I prefer, and by the way, this whole time I'm addressing him in perfect, unaccented Dwarven.
Okay.
And Dan, does Bran or Albin know you?
If you're related,
because you're talking about our cousin, and
then
so
yes, you would know me because I lurked around your family quite a bit, and you would certainly know that Ed's character's dad, Golem's dad, he had both business dealings with me that were legitimate and was also paying me under the table for something. You may even know what it was he was paying me under the table for.
It's a bit of honest graft.
Oh, well,
it's how the whole city works.
Pretty much, I'm basically his demonology consultant, keeping him from getting blackmailed. It's kind of like the total reverse of Nancy Reagan's astrologer.
He goes through the book page one more time, flips it over, flips it back over, turns back to Edwin and says, no record of Golem being arrested anytime in the last...
I haven't seen him down here. Bran calls out to you.
Yeah, you have not, Bran. You've been in here for half a day now, and you haven't caught paranormal hide of Golem.
I was going to say to him in Dwarven, thank you very much. I wish you a good shift. I'll just poke around a bit if that's all right.
Be my guest. Just don't go for my keys.
Of course not. I walk over to Bran's cell.
He twirls over and walks over to Albin and says, all right, Albin. You speak with the fathers before us. I can trust you, and I have no other choice. He extends his hand and offers you the ring of keys and says, hold on to this until I get back here. I don't know where the hell the night shift is. I came here. I was supposed to have come here with 2 other members of the Copper Guard. They're never late. I'm never late. We're only the Copper Guard, but we're a proud fighting force. And you wouldn't have made it 2 days through training if you couldn't get out of bed and report to your post on time. Something is going on here. I'm going to find out. You watch these prisoners while I'm gone, okay?
Good dwarf.
All right.
I pat his shoulder.
After he leaves,
I swing around the keys.
Bran's looking at Albin and going, okay, let's open this door and hit the
Edwin
bar.
and Anna.
All right.
What's Kabak got to say? Anything?
Kabak is fuming from behind the barred door. He's watched this entire exchange with rapt interest and sort of yells over to you, Anna. He says, Anna, what in the heck is happening over here? Why did they put me in jail?
I don't know, some kind of BS apparently.
Is that Kavik? What's
Yeah.
Kavik
Yes,
doing
it's
here?
Kavik.
I don't
What'd
know.
you do?
I'm not in the book.
More.
This is ridiculous. I'm going to have a
It
word
is
with that man's
ridiculous.
grandfather.
Highly unusual.
We should open these doors and have a word
Shut up, Bran.
at the bar.
Have you been spending time with Bran Kavik? Because he can be a bit contagious when he gets into his cups.
Okay, so Bran, last night, Kavik kept going with the story he was telling when they ripped him off of his bar stool.
Mm-hmm.
An ancient legend of a battle of yore, which he's gratuitously inserted himself in at 3 different and conflicting places.
Of course.
All of the
As
moles
is his right.
have blown him off completely and repeatedly told him to shut up. He would not shut up. How did Bran react to that?
To the moles, telling him to shut up.
To the story,
Well,
the Kavik story.
oh, to the story. Oh, it's great. He's heard it 50 times. He loves it,
Yes.
and it's different every time he tells
It
it.
is
too,
a
which just
little
makes it
different every time he
amazing.
tells it.
This is the first line of Edwin's treatise on dwarves is simply all dwarven history is true.
It's that sort of, yes, Virginia, things they carried. Well, what does it really matter that Kabak has been a spearman, an archer, an artillerist, a maceman, a swordsman, and a
On
cavalry member
both sides
on
of the
both sides of this
conflict.
fight, which occasionally swap out. This fight has been against the goblins. It's been against the giants. It's been against the cult of the reptile god.
Listen, you
all
live long
sorts of-
enough, you become all things.
That's
Hey,
right.
the way Bran sees it, if I went around telling that story and I started changing stuff, unacceptable. But someone like Kavik,
That's right.
he earned
As
that.
a traditional dwarf, you have a great degree of deference for 2 things: old people and veterans. Kavik is very old and he's very veteran.
So, Brad, you're saying that Peliacamos, I walk over to his cell and
Yeah.
I'm leaning up against it. You're saying that Peliacamos wasn't brought down here at all?
Not that I saw. I've been here, what'd you say, a day and a half?
The
Yeah,
longest
you've been here
of-
for a good day, yeah.
All right,
the longest of the cousins.
Brand, I need you to think
Grandfathers.
about something for a moment. Think as much as you can through last night. Is there anything you don't remember?
Don't remember. Well, after I got hit on the head with a clout a couple of times when they drew me in here, it's kind of an inky darkness punctuated by flashing lights, but then I came to with nary a bucket of meat or anything. But no, I did come to and haven't seen him at all.
Not even so much as a bucket. This is unusual cruelty. John,
I know, right, Alban. I know, it's cruel. Maybe you should
There
unlock
is
the
a
door.
youthful dwarf named Leopold who is perhaps the leader of this particular clump, but is certainly one of the senior moles. And he sneers over at Edwin and says, "We know where the demon child rambles. He hadn't been down here. We got somebody in or with an eye on this tank 24 hours a day. And that thing never gets brought into a cell."
never gets brought to us. So, John, I'm going to do 2 things. First off, I'm going to look around. Are there provisions of any kind down here? Something for feeding the prisoners?
Oh yeah, there's like hardtack in a water trough and bones that suggest that within the past day or 2, there was something small and edible like a goat or a chicken, but there's no meat you can see, and no fresh fruit. There's food, but everything less durable than hard grain and water has been consumed, and the dropping or the leftovers have just been thrown on the floor.
Okay. I also just lost Chad. Do you guys still have him? So I'll refresh.
I've got him, yeah.
Okay, hold on, let's refresh this.
I lost him, but I refreshed.
Roll 20. Oh, I forgot to do the ritual. I just got reminded of that by my buzzing phone. All right. Do you see chat again?
Yes, I see chat again. Okay, still.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go any further, this is the ritual. For a massive bonus in experience every single session, players may place their devil phone distraction devices into a bucket or container of some kind, make a nice noise,
I'll put it in a drawer.
and place it out of reach.
Does my desk drawer count?
Your desk drawer counts.
Okay,
As long as I have it on your honor that
It's in
that
there.
thing is out of reach and or off. Very good, George. That didn't quite fit, but I like it. That is now your receptacle.
Makes a good sound.
Yes. Very
Okay,
good,
mine's
Jack.
a desk drawer.
If you are watching this at home for any sort of tips on how to run a game, first off, don't run an actual play like this because we don't know what we're doing. However, do make your players throw their phones in a sealed container out of arm's length.
Yeah.
All right. Edwin,
so,
you were doing something.
Okay, if there are some kind of provisions there, then I am gathering what is available, and I am taking it back to Brand's cell, and I'm passing it to him.
Okay.
And once he has possession of that, I am then going to go back to the guard station. I'm going to open his logbook, and I'm going to look for anything that to me looks like possibly even magical tampering. Specifically, I'm looking things like, are there missing lines? Does handwriting suddenly and inexplicably change to something that doesn't seem to, looks like what a dwarf would write?
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'm going to grab a stool so I can hang out in front of Capek's cell.
Very nice. You can just give me an intelligence roll there, Dan. I will supplement that appropriately with your runic training and dwarf-specific super knowledge.
Okay.
I'm also going to be eyeballing Albin and his keyring.
I too am
Wee.
eyeballing the key ring. Oh wow! Look at
Yeah.
that. Nice
Okay.
roll, Wayne.
So I don't have any freaking idea.
Yeah, you open that thing and it looks like
Dwarven.
some relatively neat and orderly and punctual dwarves wrote it. You don't see anything erased. You
I
don't
also
see
get
any
nervous because
room.
I'm not supposed to be in that book, and
That's true.
So I probably am not. I freak out and I close it back again.
Okay.
How old is Edwin?
Like in his 30s.
Okay, just curious.
So has the guard come back yet?
He has not.
Okay.
All right.
This is
Now
all
the
highly
bang
unusual.
happens. Boom.
Boom.
It is
You
a.
said a bang. Is it a bang or a boom? This is
It is.
important.
It is a bang boom.
It
My
can be
immersion
both.
is
Bang
shattered.
boom.
That's how
Biggest
it is.
kind of boom. And the world kind of tilts for a moment, and then the shuddering stops. A few moments after that, you can hear the din of indistinguishable, loud voices coming from the upward tunnel on the north end and upward sloping end of the dungeon chamber. You're not sure what's going on. I need to roll the first super secret roll, but I'm just going to roll it on the table because it doesn't really matter, because you're going to know what happens real fast.
The loud voices, do they sound like dwarf voices?
Yes, it sounds like dwarves screaming at one another in urgent cacophony.
I'm going to
Nice.
peek out that direction since I'm already moving about the dungeon anyway.
Yeah, how far away is it? Like, how far down is this dungeon?
The dungeon is pretty darn far removed from the rest of the general population for obvious reasons. The stairway snakes and ascends, and it's navigable. You guys could walk it two abreast. It's pretty damn big, especially for dwarf architecture. But most of the passages in this place are. It would take you at least a few minutes to get up to the next open chamber beyond that passage. Edwin, you can you can dash up and try to see what's going on if you want to.
I will absolutely do so.
But okay, as you start to do that, before you make this decision, since I rolled a 5 as well, you get to have a little more information that you might not otherwise have.
Okay.
On the back end of a wall that you guys were pretty sure was pretty darn solid of this chamber, the sort of antechamber to the dungeon itself, there are little fractures that are starting to form in the rock, and dust and chunks of pebbles are falling away as this sort of lattice work of desiccated mud crack type of fissures show up on about a waist high to a human, dwarf length wide, if not even a little wider, tunnel-like round non-opening, and the shaking keeps intensifying, the dust keeps falling off, and the lattice keeps multiplying, tick, 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 until it looks like this entire section of low wall is being ground down to nothing.
Are we in danger of a cave-in? I'm sure
ancestors are granting a full and immediate pardon for any
praise be to the ancestors
able to grab a weapon of some kind, a rat bone, a goat bone. I'm unlocking the door.
I
all the
rush
doors.
out and I grab a chair.
And I take the logbook and I...
Bran, your equipment, if you had any when you were hauled out, is in a burlap bag, easily visible.
Oh, excellent. I can do better than a chair then.
Yes.
Probably for the best.
The moles head for a larger burlap bag, buy that bag, and start ripping out billy clubs and like boiled leather helmets, which they rapidly fasten to their heads. Does anyone else want to do anything by way of preparation?
Yeah, I'm shimmying into my chainmail and loading up.
Okay.
I'm gonna...
As everyone starts like making dash movements, I'm waving the logbook and be like, I'm still keeping this! Putting it in my bag.
John,
I give a wag of the finger.
I am moving toward the place in the wall split. I'm not like putting my face against it, but I am moving closer to it, and I am trying to intuit, because this is my character's thinking, does this look like some kind of gate opening, like a demon gate opening?
Okay, give me another intelligence check.
Do you want me to add an arcana or just a straight intelligence check?
I'll let you add an arcana.
I'm gonna, when Kavak gets out, give him a bro slap on the back, like you do.
Well, at least roll higher than 5. Is
it apparent what Edwin's doing? Is he trying to be secretive in some way? Is there any kind of...
Well, I mean, my motivation might be...
He's just snooping.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm looking for... I mean, this is what I've spent years studying, so...
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Edwin, you believe that something is going to come busting out of a hole where these cracks are forming very soon.
Okay. I draw my rapier, take a few steps back, and say... And since I know Bran is an actual soldier...
As you draw your rapier, Bran comes up and says something about, putting the toothpick away and get behind me. And he pulls out this big-ass shield, well, for a dwarf, a big-ass shield, and a big old warhammer. And he's like, just kind of, he sets himself towards
completely unconvincingly, I say to the moles and anyone else present, form a line, and like motioning horizontally, like a defensive line, but that's not, I use... Who knows if that's even coming out right.
They start queuing up
for
behind
recess, yeah.
I'm gonna...
3 of the moles, including their leader, Leopold, stand next to and between Edwin and Bran, holding up clubs. 5 of them rush out the chamber on the other end, like up the tunnel. And the girl is
shame.
Gone.
For the love of your ancestors, get back.
Did you say there was a girl in there?
Yes.
There was? Wait, what?
there is a female mole. Her name is Petra. She is famously sneaky and devilish.
And
Can I try to make
is she gone or
a
is she
yell?
gone?
Like
we
an
don't know yet.
intimidation? Can I try and make an intimidation yell at the ones who ran away?
Yes.
To
What
just
do you
try and
want
put
them
them
to
back in line? To just come back and stand against whatever's coming out here, not be cowards, sort of
Okay.
soldier.
All right, give me a charisma check.
All right. So, well, what about intimidation?
Yeah, that works. You can if you're skilled in intimidation, you can add that too.
Yes. All right. So that's going to be a D20, right?
Yep.
And then, I didn't do any of the additive stuff to it. I have a 3 skill modifiers. So 17, 18. I got a 20.
Okay, so you got an adjusted 20. All right,
Mhm.
let's see how scared they are.
And as he's doing this, I'm all yelling after them, "Shame! Come back for the sake of your ancestors. If Kava can be in 3 places during a battle, surely you can be in 1."
All right,
Dan, I think they
rogue-
actually listened to you with that roll.
the
we are
rogue
shamed.
at the head of the non-procession scramble. When he hears Bran start to scream, turns around and hoists his nightstick high and says, "The drunkard's right! We stand and defend this home!" And then the other ones look around nervously at one another, and they're like, "Ah!" And they turn around, and they're standing a good 2 files that aren't even there behind the rest of you. But they did turn around, they did get out their nightsticks, and they
I'm gonna
are
have my bow out,
waiting.
Bran,
ready to shoot.
Bran starts.
Whatever.
Bran starts yelling orders it's basically he yells at Edwin to organize the moles, to get them to line up. He instructs you to protect Albin because he's a man of the cloth and not a soldier. And then
Now that doesn't detect
Miranda,
the
does
normal stuff. It
your
has to be
bow arrow type
otherworldly.
elf shooting elf
Otherwise, nothing.
I
left.
can do bow or swords.
swords. Okay, well, and he's
I'm gonna go
does
with
he
bow
know
first.
you?
Probably peripherally, not really
Yeah.
very well.
Pretty much everyone
Well,
in the society knows each other. It's a small town.
Yeah,
And it's
and
been
you're
around
like the
for
only
over
elf.
100 years, hanging around
Yes.
the group.
Oh,
so you probably, if you don't know her very well, you at least know of her.
Yeah,
John, I'm
Go
straightening
ahead.
out the moles, not in any meaningful military way, but I'm just patting them on the shoulder, like, "You're a dwarf, you can do this," and I adjust their shoulders a little bit and make their line a little neater. I mean, there's nothing militarily meaningful to this, but I am absolutely
Like
Alright.
a flustered mom getting people ready for
Yes.
a picture.
and I am so earnest in this task.
Okay. Leopold joins you on the front flank, but he's the only mole that does so as well. Which of you are in front of everyone else facing the crack?
Well, Bran's there, of course, and he called Inna up too because she actually goes outside, and that's just crazy. So she's got to be
Go
crazy enough
outside.
to fight. And then,
Alright.
yeah. And then
Edwin,
gonna
Alban,
stand-
are either of you up in
I'm
front
gonna
as well?
stand right behind
Yeah,
Bran
I'm-
and shoot as soon as something shows up. Unless
Are you
it's
saying Bran's short? Is that what you're
Yes,
implying?
I am.
Oh.
And also, it's a long
That's the
bow.
same here. I mean, John,
Racist.
I'm not technically on the
Racist.
front line, but I'm 6 feet tall. I don't think I can't not be on the front line.
Well, actually. All right, so I have the order. George disconnected for everybody else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
George cannot be.
He seems to have the spottiest connection of the
For this
4 of
reveal,
us.
He's
yeah.
probably hitting reload because someone's turned into a black square.
Yeah.
I should have checked his
He's the
DNS
healer.
sites. Yeah, well, we've got him pushed back anyway.
Okay, all right, he's pushed back.
Yeah.
The hole finally opens up. The latticework collapses, and pebbles fly out in all directions. And a mere second after the hole opens up, a slate, solid gray, very large crocodile blows out of the tunnel behind itself, and it has burning red eyes. And it
Oh God!
flings itself toward Alban, but Bran is in the way.
Why
Let
does he
us
have to be
roll
God?
Is this a
initiative.
demonic crocodile?
Always crocs.
Yes. You've never seen a crocodile before. In fact, everyone but Anna probably hasn't, and even Anna might not.
I'm from the coast. I'm sure I've seen them.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a crocodile that's about 6 feet long. It is one color of drab gray, and its eyes are red.
Okay, can I get a knowledge arcana check? Do I recognize this as?
I'll give you knowledge arcana.
Yeah, because once again, I've spent this whole time studying extraplanar beings and demons.
Sobek, Egyptian god of the dead.
Oh, look at that!
Then I
got a 1.
Nope.
It's Sobek, Egyptian god of the dead.
Shit.
You know how flustered you were to be in the guard shack when you weren't supposed to?
It's a crocodile, not a chocodile.
Multiply that by a demon crocodile just came through the floor.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's how flustered you are now.
I'm panicked. Utterly panicked.
All right.
Well, Jonna, I'm going to take a very calm, cautious, measured approach to this, and I'm going to hit it as hard as I possibly can with my warhammer.
As soon as it's a crocodile, I shoot it.
All right. Everybody roll me a dexterity check, because that's how you do initiative in 5th edition.
All right.
Do I remember how to roll? I don't know if I do.
That's a dex check, not a dex save, right?
Correct. I'm doing my initiative in a gubernatorial signing pen, which I received as a gift today.
Nice. What did Greighton sign with that?
A law.
A controversial law that we won't talk about.
All right.
Flags for puppies.
Is 15.
That's right.
Alban is 9. Crocogorgon is 8. Edwin is 4. And I'm going to roll for 1, maybe 2 people. Okay. All right, Anna, you were well prepared for whatever was going to blow out of that hole, and it blew out of the hole, and its giant jaws are open and trying to fling itself over Bran to get to Alban, but it can't quite make it.
Is it immediately in melee, or do I get a second to shoot it?
You get a second to shoot it.
Okay, then I'm gonna.
Okay. Roll me an attack, please. It has a pretty crappy armor class because it is too big and it cannot wear plate mail.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember how to do E5. It's just a 20 plus dex, right?
Yes.
Plus proficiency, which is 2.
Plus proficiency, so yeah. Well, that's okay.
Probably.
You get a 7. All right. You let loose with your arrow, but this thing is pretty low to the ground, and it is damn near intentionally camouflaged with the rock around it.
Yeah, I was expecting something taller.
Your arrowhead just.
I bet you say that a lot in this dwarf.
Aw. Bran, the arrow whizzes by your ear harmlessly, and the crocodile is teeing up like a game of halfling ball, ready for your swing.
Oh, excellent.
Oh no!
Wow!
What the?
Oh no!
You swing so early, like you are ready for this.
So
thing.
excited!
You're gonna earn your place in Dwarf Valhalla, and you swung at 102 mile an hour closer fastball for a high school sinker. So like you are through the arc of your blow by the time this crocodile is even within reach.
Wow. I shame my ancestors.
Yeah.
What's Kabak doing with all this, by the way?
Kabak is standing back, coiled up and tense, holding one of the Night Guard's billy clubs. He has expressed to you
and I.
that He's reasonably sure that if he exercises the full use of his barbarian faculties at his age, he will die.
Yeah.
That's not to say he won't do it, but he is very, very afraid of doing so. Oh, God. Okay. You asked where Petra went. She hid successfully, and then leaped out of hiding to plunge a knife, which you didn't see her pick up, so you strongly suspect she had on her the entire time in the cell, into the back of the alligator hide. And the second step she takes on her little run-up, total bungle. Doesn't fall on her ass. I'm not going to make her roll to stab herself because I don't believe in doing that on ones, but utter misstep, misjudges the distance, and has to collect herself, aborting the attack.
Womp womp.
Alden. Or Alden, rather.
That was a horrible round. Let's never speak of it again.
It's not over.
I don't think you're going to need any hard sells of a story of why this dwarfhold's going to fall.
Yeah.
I think
Wonderful. It's the power of the crocodile spirit animal. It carries through to every game.
No. This is sheer incompetence on our part.
All right.
The crocodile has yet to do anything but hit a wall.
You can push your life past Bran to swing at it, but you know he wants to kill you.
I am going to face my judgment, and stand in front of the fiendish crocodile and bless. I will bless Bran, Enna, and I'm going to go with myself. I think I'm the third best fighter.
So that's an automatic success. You do not need to push past Bran to effectuate that spell, which is lucky for you.
I'm not going to...
Bran's still spinning around trying to stop himself.
Other dwarves face a fiend without... I'm gonna lead from the front dwarf.
All right. And what is the statistical effect of your bless, George?
Everyone can roll a D4 and add it to their attacks and their saves.
Oh, nice.
Well,
Goodness.
3, Enna, Bran, myself. So I only get 3 at the moment.
Do you roll that just the one time, or do you roll it every time?
Every attack you do. Every
Awesome.
save you do.
All right. The one dwarf of the moles who was actually brave enough to stand and fight on the front rank rears back up with his billy club and tries to nail the croc, but he fails to. Leopold's swing goes far, far wide. The crocodile, trying to get to Alban, but settling for Bran, the snack along the way, bites down his jaws in what it hopes to be a death blow against this troublesome dwarf.
This crocodile's too young to be settling.
All right. Your armor class, Bran, is, I'm sure, higher than the minimum of 10. What is your AC?
I lost John, so...
Oh, that's so that was just refresh.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
The chat lost you, so
okay.
He lost me, too. I lost him, too. No, I lost George.
George is probably doing that thing again.
Yeah, I got George back. Okay. Well, regardless, the crocodile comes a lot quicker and closer than Bran did to it,
Chad.
but
Okay.
nevertheless, all right. I got you again, Chad.
All right.
Yep.
Edwin, please let the first go through of our entire initiative order with 2 helpful NPCs result in something happening.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get I'm going to do something that doesn't require a roll on my part, so we can go ahead and get the critical success out of the crocodile system when it rolls to save. So, fumbling through one of my pouches, I pull out a tiny bit of rock that I have carved a dwarven rune on, and it glows for a brief second as I mutter a short rhyme in Infernal, basically telling it to be afraid. The spell I'm using is Dissonant Whispers. It makes a wisdom save against my spell target, which... Do you add spell levels to it the way you did before? So I have a base spell save, but do you add the spell's level to it?
No, it's 8 base plus your proficiency plus stat.
Yes.
And
Plus-
proficiency is always 2. So 10 plus stat. And that's it.
So, okay, so I no longer, like, let's say it's a 4th level spell, I don't add 4 to it anymore.
No,
Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
so it's base spell DC, so it's 8 plus my...
Proficiency plus your
Which
stat.
is 2 at this level.
Okay,
plus your
so-
casting stat, which is 2, I think, as well.
Okay, so
Plus 2.
yeah, so it's 13. Okay, so he has to make a wisdom save at a target of 13.
Is it 12 or 13?
13.
You have plus 3 to your casting stat?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. All right, he only has 10 wisdom, so he has to make this save raw. Oh, nice.
Okay,
All right,
two things happen. Number 1, he takes 3d6 psychic damage.
go ahead and roll that for me.
Okay.
Big 1. Wow.
Nice, 13 psychic damage. Okay.
Okay, secondly,
His head snaps backward, and he shrieks gutturally in whatever non-language alligators make when they hurt, and starts convulsing. Go on, Dan.
Okay, this is where I'm going to go a little fuzzy on the rules. The target must make a wisdom saving throw level. On failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed will allow away from you. So I don't know exactly what a reaction is.
I think that means if its turn is coming up in the round.
Yeah, it has to run away if.
So yeah,
It's like an instant. It's like an instant in Magic.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will rule that it is sufficiently poised to have its mind blown out and turn around and flee as fast as it can. Okay.
Yeah, I'm checking the reaction thing to see if it is something unique.
As soon as this thing connects with the alligator's head, the alligator turns around and darts rapidly right back into the hole that it came from.
Okay, no, it does that right now. Okay,
Yes.
so reactions, certain special abilities, spells, situations allow you to take special action called a reaction. A reaction is an instant response to a trigger, which can occur on your or someone else's turn. The only restriction is you can only take 1 until your next turn. But he's not had a reaction yet.
Right.
So he immediately runs his full speed away from me.
Okay.
Yes.
He turns around, tucks tail, and dashes back into the little hole. You can hear 4 or 5 alligator patter plop plop plops before you hear a sort of thump, and then a whole lot of wriggling and beating limbs, tail apostrophe parentheses S maybe tails thrashing around right behind the visual threshold of the little alligator-sized tunnel.
Okay, then as my bonus action, I lean in as my final thing. As it's taking off, I switch from Infernal to Dwarvish and say, Brian, stand just like Havoc. Chad, you now have a Bardic Inspiration. What that allows you to do is on any stat check, saving throw, or attack roll, you can roll a d20, and if you don't like the roll, you can immediately add a d6 to it. You say you have one of those d6s.
Okay, cool.
So you have a banked d6 you can add to any d20 roll, not a damage roll, but any attack or save.
Alrighty.
Cool. All right,
So
we are
is
back.
Sobek still there, or did he run away?
He's still there. Kabak is there in
No.
the
No,
flank.
Sobek.
Sobek, the
Oh, Sobek. Yes,
Just
God.
Sobek, the Egyptian god who is here because you rolled a 1 and you forgot what setting you were in. No, he is no longer visible. He has dashed back in under the tunnel. You heard him hit something soft, and then you heard a whole lot of scraping going on.
Okay, so I have, like many dwarves, stone cutting and then the proficiency bonuses relating to stonework and all that sort of stuff. Really what I want to do is nothing quite so clever or careful. I want to run up to the hole and hit it with my warhammer on top to make it collapse. Is that something I feel like I can do without collapsing everything on us?
Oh yeah. You're one well-placed Warhammer blow isn't going to bring down the entire dungeon. I will definitely give you a crack at that. However, before it's back to you in the initiative order, it is Enna's turn.
Oh.
So, Enna, what are you going to do, if anything? Miranda?
Sorry, say again?
It's your turn in the order.
It booked off down the tunnel.
Yes.
Can we see it?
You cannot, but you can definitely hear it.
Can't we have 60 feet of dark vision?
Except for
you can bend down if you want to look.
I will crouch to look.
Okay. You see a tangle of two of these things trying to get past one another. One going out, one coming in, and they are just a mess of scaly leatherback talons.
There's another one in there, and they're not having a good day.
They're not tearing each other limb from limb, but they're both trying to push each other through a channel that is too small.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not really getting anywhere yet.
I'm gonna try and shoot them in the butt, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, you can kind of
Why not?
prone down and.
Let's see.
All right, give me a damage roll for whatever your damage is.
That is a.
Somebody finally hit.
Yep. Somebody finally hit a large beast with no armor on.
I know.
And a 0 dex mod.
Somebody finally did anything successful in this
We
game.
have what's the bless do again?
You can
you
add
add
a
a D4 to attack.
Oh,
Not dead.
I hit it anyway.
You already hit it, yeah.
Do I add my proficiency? I don't add my proficiency damage.
Not to damage, no.
You get your dex though without
Yeah, I
any
put it on already.
Oh, my.
ado.
All right. You hear, everyone hears the arrow thwack into the hide of the beast, and another screech. This one a little different. This more animal and less psychotic. But the wriggling continues and the thrashing and such. Okay. Bran, now it's your turn in the order.
Take a
Sorry.
step back from the hole so someone else can.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Bran, you would like to take the Warhammer and collapse this little tunnel back down in on itself.
Yes.
Roll me an attack roll.
Okay.
You are going to hit the wall. The question is, what kind of force can you put into this in the heat of combat?
And what does the bless do again?
You get a bonus to D4. So, okay, roll the D20 plus D4. So you just type in /roll space D20.
But you also get your strength modifier and okay. So what was the +9 from?
The +9 is you said roll an attack. I get a +5 for the attack, which is +3 strength and +2 for proficiency, and then +4 for the bless.
No, D4.
Okay. So you
D4.
rolled
D4.
So type in,
I'm sorry.
yes.
I mean, it could be a
So
9.
you rolled a 14 plus this D4 that you're going to roll right now.
Okay. So now it's /roll D4. There you go. So 16.
Okay. So you rolled a modified 16. All right. You're a dwarf. You're on home turf. You know what you're doing.
John, if that's not enough, he can opt to burn the D6 I gave him.
It's not the greatest possible success, but I am going to rule it a success. If you want to roll a D6 and try to get over a DC of 20, I'll let you do that. And that would be lights out.
Sure.
Okay, so Chad, that'll burn the D6. I got him exactly 220.
There you go. That was it. All right. So having gone up to the modified roll of 20, you bring your hammer down on precisely the fault in the rocks, and even one of the new faults that was brought in by this tunneling operation, and ruin the Gator Tunnel from your hammer's point to where the Gators are thrashing, which is several feet up the hall. You're pretty darn sure that
They got squashed.
they're You're not sure if they got squashed. You're not sure how many of them are back there. Maybe it was just the two. You don't know how fast they can tunnel through rock. You've never met a gator that can tunnel through rock before. But you've definitely closed down the path that they just made, which took them a minute to make in the first place. So you have closed their tunnel down, and we're off initiative now. Anyone can do whatever anyone wants.
Run away!
There's chaos upstairs. Is there any kind of a barracks, a defensive point that we can fall back to?
Chaos?
Probably.
Do I hear like like an alarm bell, like somebody ringing an alarm gong or bell or horns call to action of any kind?
They're still yelling.
You will. It hasn't happened yet.
I looked upstairs. Trust me, there are people running, frightened. There's hysteria up there.
Brandon adjusts his helmets. He looks at all of you as like, we have to raise the alarm. And he starts trudging out.
Rapier still in hand. I follow after him.
Okay. As you guys are trudging up and out of the dungeon, you hear two long blows from the ram horn, which is the call that the dwarf hold itself is under attack. There will be additional military signals that provide more information, or at least there could be if they are issued.
I want to cun some stone. I don't know these stones. Brand messed them all up. I don't know where they go now.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what I was
fail up the stairs to get out.
You fail. You fall up the stairs.
All right. Just a few seconds after the alert goes off, another 3 short bursts, followed by a long one from the ram's horn, echo through the hall. That is a signal for all personnel who are not otherwise under immediate orders to evacuate the front gates immediately.
Right.
Evacuate through the front gates, or just
through the front gates?
Through
Get
the front
out.
Gates.
Yes.
I stand there in disbelief.
Yes.
I'm going to give you...
There is a different signal for hunker down in your homes and lock the doors. That was not it. That was get out the front door.
If
Brand
Brand stops moving, I'm going to shove him. I'm going to be like, no, you keep moving.
Brand, surely an enemy or a coward has gotten a hold of the horn.
That actually helps, and I continue to fail up the stairs.
Okay.
I'm going to run ahead a little bit for scouting reasons.
Where are the moles at?
You're in, the moles are following behind you.
Okay.
Leopold looks at you, Bran, and then at you, Albin, kind of expecting to take an order from one of the dwarves, but not really sure who it's going to be.
I'm also making sure Kavak's with us.
Kavak is with you, yeah. Kavak is falling behind.
He's too important to lose.
Yeah. Kavak listens to the horn blows and says, and then listens to your comments and says, it may damn well be sabotage, but this force is only as strong as the orders it can follow. We should make for the exit now.
Damn, well said, Kavak.
I'm fast.
Now, you don't have to do that, but that's what he says. What's that, Anna?
I'm fast. I'm going to run ahead a little bit and see if I can make sure we don't get ambushed by some sort of doom monster.
Okay. There are two, if you guys have decided to get out, there are 2 channels that you can take up to the grand hall of the entrance. The immediate choice you have to make is whether to proceed to the library in the western side of the chambers that go up the stairs, or the temple on the eastern side. Beyond the library and the temple, you'll have another juncture to choose. The library could potentially lead you to the armory, which actually has like armor, or the gun rack. There's essentially a magazine where they store the mortars and the arquebuses. You could go through there too.
Sorry,
go ahead, Chad.
I look at the moles and I go, I say, I think Kavak's right. I think we should at least get to the front gate to see what's going on. Maybe we could help hold it or help people out or assess what's going on. And I'm saying this to the moles. And I'm like, so are you going to just run for the hills? Well, or the dwarf equivalent of running for the hills. Or are you going to come with us and help us?
Leopold and Petra look over their hangers-on, and they say, we're sticking with you. After what we just saw from those crocodiles, we'll take our chances behind you guys, and we'll help when we can.
I look at Albin and Edwin and Inna, and I'm like, they have sticks and cloth. We might have to fight our way to the front door. Let's head to the armory, see what we can get them, and then head into the or head out to the front.
Okay. So you know the other side of the path, the eastern route out, the one that takes you to the temple, will then take you either through the smithy, which has like tools and actual blacksmithing equipment and probably a lot of different kinds of metal too, or the mushroom farm. If you grab a hold of a good clump of the myconid farming gear, the seeds and such mostly, you'll be able to repopulate an underground farm that can feed a lot of people a lot quickly. However, that would be if you went on the temple side, not the library side, and if you went that way, you couldn't get to the guns or to the armor.
See, as the player, I want to go down the left path, which is the temple, get all the things. For the fortress that I know as a player, we're going to have to build.
Well,
but you don't have to build a fortress. You can do whatever you want.
And I'm
my character has
that's
the idea
what
that
we're gonna do.
This thing is all effed, so we should.
From a player standpoint, I agree with you. It's like, yeah, we should get the good provisions and supplies. Yeah. From brand standpoint, we're not leaving. We're just going to the front door to reorganize and then fight back.
My vote's library armory.
Yes, no, I actually.
Close quarters guns won't do us any good. So, as a player, out of character, my vote's library armory. In character, my vote's library, then whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he also said that there were like armor and stuff that we can give to the
yes.
other dwarves.
If the armory is still there and still has what it's supposed to have, you will be able to equip if you go through that place.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's equip our men. I don't
armory,
want them.
Fingers crossed.
All right. So you're going down the western path out of this place into the library.
Okay, John. As we were going toward the library, something I'm pre-thinking is on the off chance this is real, and we really do have to leave this place, if there was one book, or maybe two or three, from the library that I considered valuable above all else to the dwarves as a culture, these were the ones that I would choose to save. And
you're going to try and snatch them?
Yes, and I want to, because I spend a shit ton of time in the library. I probably already know where they are. I'm going to grab that 1 to 3 books on my way out.
Okay, gotcha. You guys make it up to the library. It sounds like there's a lot of noise coming over from the temple side of the twisting tunnels, not as much coming over from the library. It also feels like it's getting hotter the closer and closer to the library that you get.
Great.
You're scouting out ahead, Miranda, stealthily, did you say?
Yep.
Okay, roll me a stealth check.
Let me find that.
Okay.
Channel Jones evaluating is the Twitch stream still working.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Let's see what their passive perception is. Oh, okay, you rolled 14? Okay, very good. All right. You sneak up to the library, and despite the pandemonium that you can hear from far ahead and from even down elsewhere through the tunnels, the library does not have that sort of clanging and crashing of voices. It is almost unbearably hot, And as you sneak up into it from the passages, it's kind of a circular room with bookshelves all around it. Many of the shelves are trashed. They're not systematically ripped up, but somebody has gone through, taken the books off, thrown them on the floor, opened them up, strewn them out. More importantly than that, however, there is a dwarven corpse in the middle of the library, in the middle itself of a sigil, which you go ahead and give me an intelligence, just a raw intelligence, Miranda. You probably are not going to be the one to get this, but Dan or George might.
Oh, okay, I'm not there. Okay.
You're not there yet. Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
If it's related to fiends, then I get a bonus.
It actually is.
Then I get a +2.
You get a +2? Okay. This is the symbol of a fell demon lord named Thrakgash. He is often depicted as some kind of serpentine, aquatic, swamp creature. His forms are black dragons, snakes, crocodiles, as you've just seen. And the snake sigil that this dwarf body has been laid out in is unmistakably a desecrated icon to Thrakgash. You also recognize the body itself. It was a wizard apprentice named Dagrath, and he was one of the 2 apprentices to the head wizard, and he's very, very dead. The other apprentice is your friend Golem, who you don't know where the hell he is. You also see, crawling around the room, skitterishly, intensely, and almost visibly, excitedly, 3 very, very large centipedes.
Gross.
I choose no. I'm going to fade back down the hall and let them know that we got a fight coming up.
Yay!
What kind of horrible garbage is going on in our library?
Did you guys lose chat or just me?
Just you.
Okay.
Dead
Okay,
because
there we go.
demons
Oh, we could do that.
can die in a fire.
All right, so you guys plow in.
Yep.
All right.
I'm not going to stop that.
I'm going to creep up ahead of them again as soon as they're informed so I can shoot things before all the dwarves get their big fat heads in the way.
And I'm providing plenty of distraction. Brand's like waving his warhammer and yelling as he's wobbling down the hall.
All right.
Are you wobbling? Are you still drunk? What's happening?
Maybe? I mean, it's only been half a day and I drank a lot.
No, it's been a day. You've been in there a day.
Maybe I need to drink more. You know, all the games I've played on Roll20, which has maybe been about 6, 7, 8, something like that, never do you roll high. Like, it is very, very rare to roll high.
The RNG doesn't like you on Roll20, eh?
It's not like anybody.
All right.
I'm thinking, he might be right. I'm trying to think if Armin Jesus has ever liked me on Roll20.
I was playing a Blades in the Dark game where, like, the players win all the time. The rules are designed to where the rolls are so weighted towards the players, we got our asses kicked.
All right, everybody give me a Dex initiative check, CV, please. They rolled a modified 20.
I'm just going to switch to rolling a D4 every time you ask for a D20. I mean, at least then I won't be surprised. I mean,
couple extras. Your NPCs aren't doing much either. George, give me initiative. Oh, you gave me it already. It's an 8.
You have an 8 from me.
All right.
Make it 8.
All right. As you charge into the room, you find that instead of 3 large, horribly nasty centipedes, there are now 3 large, horribly nasty bats in there. And I say large. They're big for bats. They're not Mothra.
Not large size. They're just
correct.
large for bats. Okay.
Right. And they descend upon the party as it descends into, or ascends to the room. 1 going for Bran, 1 going for Albin, 1 going for Enna. And I will roll their attacks.
Enna, these aren't centipedes!
Well,
Okay.
what happens when you fight demon garbage?
Albin's attack
Norman.
is a 22 armor class. Bran's attack hits a 6 armor class, and Enna's attack hits a 17 armor class.
Pretty sure.
All right, George,
I am
Miranda.
hit.
All right, George, you are hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay, I've hit you both. All right, so Albin takes a shot for 6, and Enna takes a shot for 5.
Oh,
If you would both roll me Constitution saving throws, please. Very good, Albin. Yeah.
I failed.
Okay. Albin, you feel the twinging onset of some nasty poison, but you successfully resist it. Enna, you do not.
I do
You
not.
are poisoned for 1 minute, and you are going to take disadvantage on your following turns attack rolls, 6 turns worth.
Yeah.
Also,
Pretty nasty.
dwarves get advantage on saving throws against poison.
Ah, who had to roll an elf ranger in a dwarf campaign?
You gotta
Whose
have
fault
token
is
elf friends.
this? You also take another 2d4 damage, which I was gonna wave under the table, but then I would have to turn in my blustering John DM card. All right, you take 5 more. You have 1 or 2 hit points left, don't you?
Yeah, I've got 3.
Yeah, boy. All right. Well, now you all get to go, which will almost certainly result in some or all of these being dead.
Unless we have another.
I'm not.
Unless you have another one of these rounds. Okay, Bran, it's time to give some back. You are up.
Alrighty. He's like good and pissed and actually really excited to do this. Does he still have the blessing, or does that go away?
Yes, you guys have
Okay.
been moving with a purpose. I'm going to say that's still active.
Okay, so I roll a d4 first.
You roll a d20 and a d4.
So yeah, you can just type /roll space d20 plus d4, and it will put them both there for you.
Wow. There's that.
Oh,
Wow!
mhm.
that would be a
And,
critical hit.
Oh,
All
Bless
right.
is gone. That's only a minute spell.
Oh, that's only 1 minute. Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah.
well, I still
I-
got
I-
it.
But
after
you still
one.
rolled a 20. All right. Everything does
Yeah.
double damage on a
See,
crit at 5, right?
It's like a placebo. He thought he was blessed, so he nailed him.
It's like Angels in the
Actually,
Outfield, the final.
Yes.
You roll the weapon die twice.
Okay, so you just
Now,
chuck the weapon die
that's
twice.
the new.
All right, Chad, if you would roll your weapon die twice and add your strength mod, I can almost guarantee you're going to pace this thing, because as nasty as these guys are, they ain't got a lot of hit points if you can actually hit them.
Yeah, they're bats.
Okay.
Well, they're not really.
So, all right, so that's. Let me do that and that and that.
Oh, God. You did 18 points of damage to a Quasit. You know how when you're playing Doom, if you do more than their maximum hit points of damage to kill them and their human enemies, they just get gibbed.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even play the death animation. There's just goo left behind. That's what happens. You connect with this bat, and at first, it kind of starts to... You can see a shimmer as it disintegrates of it reverting to some kind of original form. But you overdrive it so badly, you can't even tell. It's just a smear now. Hooray!
I'm covered with bat goo.
Technically, you don't have the
Yay.
second ability
At least it's
damage,
not bat
but
guano.
that's still a 15, and that will...
Yeah, no, I did the calculation. These things
That'll
have
do,
a maximum of 7. So, like, we're fine on that count.
That crit.
Albin, you are up.
All right. Bran you're in your element. And then I'm going to swing my Warhammer at the awful biting bat thing that bit me.
That will connect. All right. You hit that bat thing hard. And it falls to the ground and turns back to its true form, which is this hideous little imp thing with long horns and solid black eyes and webs where the joints meet their other limbs. But it quickly springs back up and hisses at you menacingly, ready to attack again. And now it is Emma's turn.
Rude. It should just die instead. I'm gonna stab the thing trying to bite my face.
Okay. You have to roll twice because you have disadvantage. Well, the good news is you rolled a 5 twice. The bad news is you rolled a 5. And you miss with your stab. You lean down to strike the thing, but you can feel the poison.
I have 2 weapons, so can I stab it?
Do it again.
Yeah.
Still with disadvantage.
Fail with the other one.
Oh, ones.
Roll
Yeah.
2 1s.
Wow.
You know,
Oh, that right?
yeah, this is
What you need
this
to
is
do
a
is
game.
split double down.
Very strange.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah, you split 10s. Now you're holding 2 16s, which is what you deserve for splitting 10. All right.
That's very strange.
So Anna attacks ineffectually.
I'm
sad.
poisoned. It's very distracting.
That's true. Edwin, batter up.
Okay, can I give you a knowledge arcana check for what I'm about to request to do?
That
Which
depends
is,
on what you want to do.
I want to break, I would say desecrate, but it's already demonic, you know what I mean? Violate the...
De-desecrate.
Yes, I want to my concern in character is this point is that this might be a point of power, this might even be a summoning gate. I want to screw up the demonic thing in the middle of the room.
Roll me a knowledge arcana for what it is, and then roll me another knowledge arcana to affect it if you are even reasonably successful on the first knowledge arcana.
All right, there's the first knowledge.
Okay. You don't know what this thing is, but it's real bad news. It is absolutely actively malevolent. It is desecrated, and you can try to mess it up.
Well, there's my...
Okay.
That's really strange.
You are discerning a pattern here, and you try to smudge a break into the bloodline at one point and blur a sharp point of connection to something more blobby to mess up with whatever it is that's coming through here.
I'm also trying to get the body out of the circle. Anything I can do. I mean, I'm just having a little temper tantrum on this thing.
You can hear it shudder. You can feel it shudder. But you're pretty sure you have not totally destroyed it yet.
Okay.
And now let's see what Sneaky Pete and Leopold get to do. All right. Petra tries to stab the downed one. She's tired of this. No sneak attacks, just death. And she fails. Leopold tries to help her out with a nightstick. Oh boy!
Hooray!
Not even rolling damage. He scored a crit on an enemy that had 1 hit point left. The same process that Bran just did to the previous Quasit, he does to this one that's on the floor.
It goes up in a mushroom cloud of hellfire.
Yes, it goes up in a mushroom cloud of hellfire giblets. Poof. And there is only one left. It howls at the death of its comrades and the increasing desecration of the sigil, and it dives headlong into a big bloodstain in the middle of the sigil right next to the heart of the slain apprentice and vanishes.
Cute. Okay, so I'm getting the heart out of there then. I'm continuing my desecration.
Unobstructed by the closets, Edwin, you're able to slow down, take your time, look at some stuff, and de-desecrate this sigil. You weren't really totally sure what it was or how it worked, but having executed some meatball demon code on it, you got it gone.
Am I still poisoned?
You are poisoned for 1 minute. So if you sit down for a second to recuperate after this battle, you will no longer be poisoned.
I'm going to sit down and be like, I am not feeling real great.
Okay. You do, however, have severe hit point damage on George. I don't know if you took Cure Light Wounds, but this would probably...
yeah, I have it.
I am 3 points away from death. Or pseudo-death.
Death minigame.
Have a lot.
Looking over my character sheet, the best I could do for you is give you some beef jerky.
Pass.
But it's dwarven beef jerky. There's real mushroom in this.
Yeah, but I like my meat fresh. We caught from outside.
This is fresh. It's 3 months old.
Ugh, dwarves.
All right, Edwin, you have decided
you
upon a 2-volume history of the Ironblood clan, complete with 144 generation genealogy, and a copy of common ancestral prayers as the things that you would, if you were going to plant the seed of this culture again.
There's nobody else in the library. Are there any bodies, like dwarf bodies?
So hold on,
innocent bystanders?
1 second. So it's 2-volume history of the Ironblood clan. What's the other one?
A book of prayers.
One other thing.
But they're not just like long form meditations on the nature of things. There are agricultural practices that are encoded in these things.
Is there a book on like demon spawn that have been encountered in the mines? Anything like that? Some kind of demon?
Roll me a real fast D20 perception check.
Ooh.
0.
No, there's
I
not.
think you've heard of books before, but no, you rifle frantically through some stuff on the floor ineffectually, but your dim recollection of how this place was organized before it got sabotaged is utterly insufficient to get you guys.
Once I'm healed, is there anyone else in here?
No.
Okay.
There's clamor above and clamor below.
Then we should.
There's no one else. Okay.
When I'm not poisoned anymore, because after that noise.
Well, could I attempt a religion check to see if there's something I could grab that might be useful?
What are you looking for? This is the wizard side of things, but
a text on, yeah.
Can you find me a book with pictures of demons on it?
Text on
with
what?
a religion check?
You have to complete that sentence. A demonology book of some kind?
Yeah, lower planes and religions and...
Would Edwin be muttering aloud about what he's looking for?
Oh, yeah.
Edwin.
Oh, yes, yes.
Anna's going to flat out tell you what that demon sigil was and what it was for summoning and what blah, blah, blah from my role when I was scouting.
Knowing the name of the demon is good, but we need a text on it. We're going to stop this. I know the text is in here. I've read it. I can even tell you red leather binding, very old, not that that helps. It's about yay thick, gold on the spine, horizontally in 2 places.
We can spare maybe 2 minutes to search. So,
If you could find it for me,
plus perception, which is plus a 4, I think. Hold on. Yeah, plus 4.
Okay, so that'd be a modified 12.
Yeah.
John,
All
I'm
right.
poking my head out
Good
the
news
door,
and bad news.
see if there's any
The bad news is you were looking
baddies
for a
out there
very
or
specific
anybody coming in.
study of demonology, which you did not find. The good news is you have found a gilded, large, wide book, which you are almost certain is Golem's spellbook.
I take it.
Okay.
Is anyone else going to roll?
John, can I get a since I assume we're at least on vaguely friendly terms, can I get a persuasion check to get the moles to help me?
Yeah. They will. You can just ask the fact.
Okay.
They're quite prepared to help you at this point of the crisis.
All right, I've described the book to them. So this could be of enormous help in trying to undo this, or if it happens again, or to keep it from happening again. Yeah, but I need this book. I don't have it memorized. Please, can you help me search for it?
All right. They spread out.
Okay.
Ugh. And they say, after a couple of minutes of looking, sorry, Chief, we can't find.
They just find the books with the tasteful etchings.
They pocket
Yes.
a couple gold-plated bookmarks and be like, "What were we looking for?" Oh yeah, no books.
As you guys are searching, a well-organized platoon of 23 Iron Guards, led by a lieutenant in field chainmail with plate pauldrons and plate helmets, comes stomping down the library, heading toward the mines, down a path that you guys did not come up from. And they see you, Albin, speaking and deferring, and say, orders from the Adamantine Guard, get these people outside now.
All right, we're out of time.
That there were crocodiles down in the prison.
One of the ones
if they're
behind
heading
you.
down, they should probably know what's already down.
She's right. She's right. Where are you going? You should come with us. I'm fine with.
He turns
order.
around to Enna when she says that, and he says, "We're aware. They've used infiltrators elsewhere. You guys about to scrap with one of them, huh? You're one of the few. Good work."
We were hoping to make it to the armory for goods for our recently emancipated brethren. What is the situation on that side?
Armory is secure. In fact, I'm going to give you official authorization as a member of the Iron Guard right now to take whatever provisions you need for survival and combat. We'll organize who owns what where when this is over.
All right. Yeah, I've got drunk tank dwarves fighting with bowling pins. It's not going to work. Let's get them moving. We got every able-bodied dwarf needs to be suited up.
Nope, he's still there.
Oh, let's chat too.
Oh, I lost.
I'm gonna reload.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I keep losing John.
Okay, now I have everyone again.
I have everyone.
I lost you too, Chad. Do you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. So what was the last thing you said, George? You said I lost you. I've got some drunk tank dwarves.
Yeah, I've got dwarves from a drunk tank fighting with bowling pins. I need to get to that armory. Every able-bodied dwarf needs to be suited up.
They nod, and one of them barks an order to
Damn it.
the
I
platoon
think I lost
in the back.
John again.
All of them unsheath
Reload.
long knives held on their belts and throw them on the ground at the feet of all of you, including the moles. A bunch of moles pick them up, but there's a few others if you want them.
What did they throw down?
They threw down masterwork daggers.
I grab one because
They're
why not?
sidearms.
I grab one too. I don't know what I'm grabbing because I had to reload, but I'm grabbing it.
Masterwork
It's a
dagger.
masterwork dagger, which is worth grabbing simply for the fact that it's masterwork.
Dagger?
Yeah.
I don't do daggers.
Pick it up.
Those are gnome
Every
swords.
single one of them had bigger gear than that strapped, but they looked at you, they heard your plan, and they were ordered to do their secondary weapon.
No, that's
Which they did.
perfect for some of our dwarves,
God.
especially the
Right.
moles.
They salute you and continue charging down the hallway. All right, peeps. I'd say we are at least at the halfway point of the game, probably the 2/3 point. So how about a 5 or 10 minute bathroom and refill your drink break?
Sure.
Okay. I will pause the stream then, and
And we should all reload before we start over.
yes. All right. So I'll pause the stream, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Cool.